Hello. Wow, I'm so not used to so nice to doing this. Normally it's Dale's big nugget and always introducing people and all that stuff. But hey, listen to what Dale is in the comments today. He's doing a very well deserved vacation with the family and all that good stuff. So I have brought in three of my good friends as co-hosts, and we're going to introduce them in little by little. And here we go with our we like to call him Professor Palms, Palm Andrew, Funny Books, Pomaringo.
What is going on? Good to be here.
Yeah, man. We got Palms, who's been around in the Facebook world for a while, and he's also on Instagram with the Palms Funny Books as well. We also got from the Facebook world, we got ourselves this guy.
I'd be this guy. Thanks for having me once again.
There you go.
Nice to be here, and finally Palms can know who I am.
It's nice to meet you, whoever you may be.
Last but not least, we have Mr. I Like Collectibles himself, Mr. Greg.
Caesar, what's up?
Yeah, man. This is good. This is a fun group. All right. So, today normally we've been having a lot of guests and all that stuff, and today we just have some co-hosts. And today's gonna be one of the rare, as we used to call them, shit shows, meaning we're just going to be talking about what's hot, what's going on. We could talk about the writer's strike. We could talk about the Senate, AI Senate, SDCC, movies, trailers, what's good, and all that good geeky stuff. This is our time for people who are few in there to, on the comments, go ahead and bring up some topics, whatever you're going to want to talk about. Let's do this, man. We're going to have some fun. Hot book, Cycle Sale. If you guys are not backing up William Russell's Kickstarter, have you seen his She-Ra? I mean, I'm not a big She-Ra fan, even though it's my era. He's working on the She-Ra, man. I don't know. Were you guys into She-Ra when that came out back in the day?
I mean, I was into He-Man, so by association, you kind of.
Yeah, I never watched a She-Ra cartoon.
I don't think I got into that era of stuff. I watched a little bit of the Transformers. I saw that, and I think it was more Thundar the Barbarian.
Ooh, yes, that's my favorite.
Rather than He-Man. That was kind of my jam in the Saturday morning cartoon era. So, but yeah, I missed the boat on He-Man.
You know what? I was a He-Man guy. I had all the toys, but I did love me some Thundar. Actually, the whole Hanna-Barbera thing with Thundar and the Herculoids and that Saturday morning thing. Am I old? Am I aging you guys? No, right? Because you watch that stuff. Who's the youngest? That's nice. Thanks for that. Who's the youngest guy here? You are Greg? Are you the
money on Ha?
I'm 40.
Ooh.
So Greg and I are tied.
Oh, you're 42, huh, Dorf? Really? Okay, well, that's good.
Greg, what month are you born?
I thought for some you were older.
For me, it was all about Castle Grayskull, man. I wanted that toy so bad as a kid. I never got that thing.
And I had the Skeletor figure where you hit him in the chest and it flipped and he looked beat up, and then it rolled again.
The original battle armor, right?
Yeah, I have those now, but I didn't have them as a kid, which is kind of funny, huh?
That is kind of funny.
They cost a lot less back then.
Yes, very true.
Those were cool because you would flick them with your fingers, right? And they would kind of.
Well, you're supposed to hit it with like the battle axe, and then it, But
well, those were the cool things about the He-Man because they had the twist, right? And you would mostly sock it, and they would flip it over. But
yeah,
I used to have a lot of, and I did have that Castle Grayskull. It was surprised. It was the last one of those Christmas things where, everything's gone. Hey, what do I see in the back corner there? One of those. So
see, but I had Castle Grayskull also. But for those of us who had it, it was nothing. It was literally there was a front. It was like nothing in the back.
Yeah,
not like the old GI Joe toys, which like actually had stuff on the inside to put the thing. This was literally just here's a wall with a little hole.
It was pretty weak, wasn't it? I must admit.
We
Yeah.
wanted it because it looked cool from the front, but
Yeah, the commercial was awesome. The commercial was awesome. That's what it's all about.
No, the commercials made every single toy awesome. They played the dirt and the rocks. They were catapulting from tree to tree, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. Then you get it, you're like, I got nothing.
I grew up in
No,
Florida.
not.
Every G.I. Joe commercial made me want to live in a different place because they had the coolest terrains. And oh, look, it's sunny, and there's this beautiful pond, and then there's this. And I lived in Florida where it's humid as hell. It rains, and then it's okay again for 5 minutes. Then it rains again. It's horrible.
Well, speaking of, when I was a kid, and I saw that USS flag, and I thought this is the best thing I've ever seen in the world. Then I actually saw the actual how big it is. That thing's fucking massive. I couldn't imagine, back in my day, I thought that would be like $800 million when you're a kid. Everything's like a lot of money, right? Just like, my dad can't afford that shit.
Yeah.
But G.I. Joe's was also another thing too that was pretty fun to collect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we hit a milestone on the show. We hit 10K. Look at that.
All right. That's
Nice.
a big milestone.
Hey.
Congratulations.
That's big.
It should be noted who the people that are on the show are when that finally happened.
Oh, yeah.
It took the three of us being together with you to
You
make
got to
it
put
happen.
it on our backs and, carry it, through the finish line.
Yeah, no, not really. No. I'm gonna say no. Yeah. Well, look at that. He's saying William says that it's 7 feet long, that USS flag.
God dang.
I wouldn't even be able to put that in my room as a kid. I ended up putting my clothes over it, because you know where else to go. Speaking of G.I. Joe, so there's rumors that there's a whole new rumors, right? They're going to make another G.I. Joe movie. I mean, how many more G.I. Joe movies do we need? Are they going up there with the Transformers movie to keep constant reboots and this and this and that? I mean, do we want a G.I. Joe movie?
Wait, do we know about the spoiler from the last Transformers movie? They're not spoiler about the hidden extra scene.
I haven't seen the Transformers movie, but then again, I don't care. I'm not that. I mean, is spoiler time over? Is it over by now?
So, I mean, I would assume so. I don't think the movie's in the theaters anymore because they only last 2 weeks these days.
Okay.
But yeah, the end scene, you have a character show up at an office for an interview, and it turns out that it's G.I. Joe at the end of the Transformers movie. So Transformers G.I. Joe is gonna happen.
It's coming.
All right. Is that something we have to be excited about?
Oh, I didn't say I was excited about it. I said it's happening.
All right. Well, I'm kind of curious now. Now I'm kind of curious to see what it goes around at. So, all right, Andrew, are you happy to see a G.I. Joe movie come up?
Me personally, not really. The only curious thing I have to ask is it the same cast with? I don't even remember the people that are in the first two that came out. Honestly,
in that case, I'm going to say no.
Is it being recasted? I have no idea.
Well, if you saw the second, Channing Tatum was Duke, and he died in the second one.
That was
5 minutes.
Spoiler.
You had me at Channing Tatum died, so that's good. So I might get roped in now.
Oh, wait a minute! You're trying to tell me you're not excited to see him as Gambit?
We'll probably see if he's in the movie. We'll probably see him for what, maybe a minute or two if they're jumping all over the place. Who knows?
Over all of these spoilers and all of these rumors. I want to see the movie when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me all this other junk. I don't need to see a picture of Hugh in the outfit. We all know what's coming. We all love it. But let's just see it when it's on the screen. It's actually finished.
I agree.
Let's actually, I might have talked about this. Maybe it was to myself because I talk to myself a lot. I don't have any friends. Back in the day, when trailers were trailers, they were very small, very little, and that's all they gave you.
Yeah.
Now, it's a 3-minute trailer of basically half of the movie. I think they need to go back to literally showing you nothing but just little hits and bits. I saw the new Dune, the second part trailer. It was like 3 minutes long. I felt like I was watching the whole movie in the trailer. But what threw me off was the first time I saw the trailer for Batman vs Superman, and they showed Wonder Woman, they showed Doomsday. I'm like, well, so much for the element of surprise. If you're going to the theater, don't you want to go to the movies and go, holy shit, they put in Wonder Woman, right? You already saw the trailer, so you already expect it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, not only do you get like a 3-minute trailer for every movie, you see what half-hour worth of spoilers behind the scenes before the trailers are even released, and you have to kind of put together what's real, what's not real. Is the movie company trying to fool the fans, or are they going to be using this part? Are they going to be using that part? It'd be great if they didn't show anything. Take a couple pictures on the set, and that's it. There's no surprise with a lot of stuff coming out, it seems like nowadays, because you can piece together basically what the movie's going to be about before the movie even comes out, which is kind of ridiculous.
There's also 8 different trailers. It used to be there was one.
Yeah. You didn't
That
see
was enough.
When Star Wars first came out, you didn't see 4 trailers for Star Wars. Right? It just didn't happen. Imagine they showed a trailer of Luke getting his hand cut off before anyone knew his hand got cut off. Right? And you're like, well, that kind of sucks. So it bums me out that Hollywood is ruining certain things. And now this whole leaked the Seven Dwarfs thing, which I really thought it was a joke, but it's not. So the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are technically they're no longer dwarves. They're just 7 ordinary people and 1 little person. I don't, and they're all, of course, they're all different genders and race and all that. I don't know, people. It's mind-boggling. There's someone probably going, and what's wrong with that? Okay, I get it. I all right. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it, but is Marvel, is Disney going to go, shit, I think we made a wrong move when it made $8 at the box office?
What is called
It's none of the other wrong.
Dwarfs, right? The 7 dwarfs.
7 dwarves, right? And when they first came out on the 1930s, it wasn't called Snow White and 7 people.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Hollywood is getting a little wacky. They're almost ruining it for. Listen, we're gonna grow up. There's a whole new generation of people growing up who are gonna be watching all these movies, and it's gonna be the norm. Then they're gonna grow up going, "Wait a minute, they're supposed to be dwarves." Oh, I didn't know that, because when I grew up, the first Snow White I saw, it was Snow White and 7 people. So that's the thing about shows and movies where they change up just for the sake of. So I don't know, man. It's tough.
I think we're already there. It seems like a lot of the newer generation have no idea of the original source material for basically anything, movies, books, anything. It seems like I spend not a lot of time, but occasionally I'll have to spend some time explaining to my son the origin of this character or of this movie and the reference they're making. And he's like, I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah, it happened a long time ago. He's like, well, they really screwed that up, didn't they? I'm like, yeah. You should go check out the original, see if you like it.
Yeah.
Hit or miss if he likes it, but at least you can check out the source material or the original. So,
that's gonna be the thing, right? Go back and watch it,
Right.
But some of it didn't happen that long ago. I mean, Moana is a Disney movie that I love. My kids love it and whatever. And they're already making a live action. The movie came out 4 years ago. They're already making the live action version. So I don't understand the logic or the reasoning. People will keep throwing their money at it and whatever. But why do we need the live action of this now, let alone ever? I mean, I don't understand why I need a live action Lion King that was all CGI anyway.
Well, I'm not hip. So how did this? How did the how did the Little Mermaid movie do? Did it tank? Was it a success? Did it bomb?
No idea.
It did well. I mean, it didn't do amazingly. Nothing that comes out these days is doing amazingly. Since COVID and everything shut down, nothing has like come out and blown things out of the water like the old Marvel movies used to, or anything like that. But it did well.
Didn't Avatar 2 do pretty well? I think that was like the one that did pretty well.
Yeah,
And
It did okay. It
I
didn't
was
hold a
disappointed.
candle to what came before it.
No.
And it stayed in the theater for a long time, trying to milk every penny it could.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the second one. Did you guys all see it?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I have not.
Yeah. Wait for it to come out on.
Oh, it's already on HBO Max
Yeah.
and Disney Plus.
Yeah, guys. You know, it is what it is. Did you see that thing, Greg? Did you know that Spawn was in Philadelphia?
No, I saw that Dell was saying that it might not be true.
No.
I did not hear that.
I already lost the thing. Yeah. So last week we had Rondy Barnes on, who is the writer and creator of Philadelphia, and it was announced that Spawn comes out in issue 50. So there's a cross there.
That's confirmed. That's confirmed. I didn't know
It's
that.
confirmed, all right.
Oh, wow.
We had Charlie Lost Boy on the show, and he's like, "See," and he opened up the middle cover. It's like, "Oh, there it is."
That's
Thanks for the spoiler, but yeah, it's true.
That's cool.
Yeah, just hearing that, I would like to go back and pick up all the Philadelphias. I haven't read it, but I've heard it's good.
Oh, it's a good book. I read them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hearing that, I would like to go back to kind of see the storyline and see if they were setting it up for a cool crossover.
So I just pulled it up. Avatar: The Way of the Water is 7th all-time box office.
7th.
So it did pretty well.
Who is it behind?
It's behind Top Gun: Maverick, Black Panther, the original Avatar, No Way Home, Endgame, and Episode 7.
But we got to take into account that when it's saying total box office, it's talking about the fact that a single ticket is $20 now.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to back these other movies that killed it in the box office. That was when movies were $5, $8.
Yeah.
I mean, Avatar, when Avatar the first one did it, tickets were still only $11 a person. Now any ticket is almost $20.
Yeah.
And, that is true. And I think one of the reasons why it made so much money is because it was pure curiosity of what it's going to be like. What is it? How is it going to be to the first one? It was all just and nostalgia, right? One of the reasons why Maverick did so well too, because people were kind of curious. Now I finally saw it, and I gotta admit, it's a pretty damn good movie. I was skeptical. I'm like, really? He's all old and teaching the youngsters how to fly. It worked. That shit was done right.
But that's the difference. That's why I think Maverick did really well. Because at first, I don't think it hit. I mean, there were the people who were like, I have to see it because, and then it was really well done and got out real quickly that, hold on, this wasn't just let's see Tom Cruise in a plane again. They did the movie well. And then people started really going out. And that lasted for a long time in the theaters because people were consistently going to it.
One of the good examples is everyone was hyped up for Flash, and I was ready to go watch it. I was gonna go to the theaters and check it out because then I postponed, and people came back and said you might want to hold off on that. Now I'm not one to normally listen to people. I like to form my own opinion, but when it comes to spending quite a few bucks at a movie theater, and not including the fucking icy and red vines and all that bullshit, I thought to myself, I'll watch it at home, so I'm still going to form my own opinion, but people either liked it or they hated it. One thing confirmed from what I did here is that the CGI is shit. That's what I heard.
There was one person, or there was a rumor that the CGI was specifically made to look as poor as it did at times, which is the stupidest argument I've ever heard in my life. I still have not seen the movie. Anyone who knows me knows I refuse to give any money to support Ezra Miller. I will watch it when it's free. They should have recast him, shot everything without him, just like a different movie did with Kevin Spacey when he had his stuff. They literally reshot every scene with Kevin Spacey, and that person was nominated for an Oscar. They could have done that with Ezra Miller, and then I would have gone and seen the movie, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I think at this point he's pretty much mud. But did we all watch Spider-Verse?
Not yet.
What? So let me talk to you two bozos right here, and this guy right here. What's with? Do you even have kids, Greg? No Spider-Verse?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I know.
I not only have I seen it, I have the Blu-ray already pre-ordered.
Look at this guy. Now, see,
I've heard it's outstanding, and I just haven't made the time. I had vacation to go on, and it's just making excuses more than anything else, I guess. It's just a matter of getting out there because I want to see it in the theaters before it goes out. I don't want to wait until it comes home where I can watch it on whatever it's going to land on. I want to see it in the theaters. And on top of that, I heard there were a couple of different endings with that movie, which makes it even cooler. So I don't know what the alternate endings are with both of the versions that are out, but I definitely want to see at least one version of it, if not both versions, if I have the opportunity. So I want to catch it in the theaters before it goes out. I just don't know when it's going to happen.
Well, so as I'm watching it, I'm going, I'm not getting it. Meaning, for me, it started out slow. And I'm going, I don't see what the big deal is. It's a sort of a slow burn, and then it comes out of nowhere and kicks you in the nuts. And as it ends, I'm like, that was pretty good. I was like, that's all right. I get it now.
What'd you feel about the first one, though, Caesar?
The first one for me, I had to watch it a couple of times to really get into it. It didn't suck me in the first time. It really didn't.
Probably why.
Maybe that's what it is. It's just what it is. And I will say, and I know, Greg, you might want to cover your ears on this. Before the movie started, they showed trailers for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon crap. And I looked at it and I said, this animation's horrible. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And they're going to do a whole cartoon on that animation. And have you seen it, Greg? Have you seen the animation that's they're doing, right? And all that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You like it?
I'm gonna see the movie and see what I think. I'm not a huge fan of it, but the original TMNT is what I like. But
so it's such a clear ripoff.
It
of
really
the style.
is geared.
The style of the art, the cartoon, is clearly ripped off straight from Spider-Verse for the new TMNT.
I don't know. It just seems very Saturday morning kids make. I don't know. I just wasn't. Did you see it, Palms? Did you see the preview and all that? The TMNT
no, I haven't.
cartoon?
But it disappoints me because there's so many. I mean, I'm not a Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles fan. I mean, I don't hate them. I just never really got into it personally. But I know a bunch of collectors that are, and they're fanatics.
Yeah.
So why not?
You're looking at one of them down there, and you're
why not put the time and effort and the style into the movie where the fans really enjoy it? I mean, are you trying to save a few bucks? Are you trying to rush it out there? I don't get it. I mean, there's a ton of fans that will go and see it and support it. And if you put that extra effort in there to put a quality product out, of course you're going to make some money. So I don't get it.
It's not that it's I wouldn't say it's a bad animation. It's just weird. I don't know. It just I just don't get it. Speaking of Spawn movies, we're still hoping for that new Spawn movie. And I just saw a clip of the old one not too long ago. I'm sorry, that shit's not holding up.
No.
that CGI in the 1990 or whatever.
The problem with the Spawn movie too is so much of it rides on Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx is, who knows what's going on with him right now. So he's been signed on for 10 years for that movie.
Are you kidding me? He signed a 10-year deal for Spawn?
No, he signed on to do the
kidding
movie
me?
almost 10 years ago. Yeah, he did. He was the first person to sign on with
Oh,
McFarlane.
yes.
But his health supposedly is not very good right now. So yeah, what Efren just said, I agree 100% with him. If the new TMNT, the trailer feels Nickelodeon. It has a lot of
yes.
Feels very Nickelodeon. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, they're putting the game into the Ronin game. It's kind of hard, especially now with the writer's strike. Is the writers and actors strike is putting a lot of things on the it's being tabled. And if you guys thought that we were waiting a long time for new things to come out, yeah, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So either show's going to be worse, or we're going to go back to watching reruns of Hawaii Five-0 like I have been doing in 1977. So yeah, Dorf logged off, and he'll be back. He had to take himself a phone call. So I'm not kidding. Right now, I'm on season 4 of Hawaii Five-0 from 1972. Those shows are funny. How they're holding up better than Spawn? Hold it up better than Spawn, I'll tell you that. But it is funny, the language back in those days. You can get away with baby, sweetheart, sweetie.
Oh yeah.
Different time, different
everyone,
era.
The secretary. Oh my gosh, it's like, hey sweetie, can you get me the cough? Hey, thank you, honey. You know, I'm like, so I looked at my wife. I'm like, hey, honey, can you get me anything?
Yeah.
She was like, sure.
Yeah, I'm going back and rewatching stuff on streaming services now. I'm in the midst of rewatching The Walking Dead because I only made it up to a certain point on The Walking Dead. I think I had ended where Rick had left the group and there was mystery surrounding that. So there's several seasons after that. But I just decided, hey, I'm going to start it from episode 1. And I think I'm rolling through the Alexandria Hilltop / beginning of Negan storyline, which is some of the best stuff I remember from that show. So I'm enjoying it again. And, you know, if the strike goes on, there's a lot of options out there for people. And people have already kind of settled into doing this anyways. They're going back and watching a lot of shows that either they haven't seen for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Or they just never had a chance to catch that people have been telling them, hey, catch this show, dude, or catch this series. You'll love it. And there's just so much stuff out there to catch. How much is it really going to affect if they go on strike for a year? Honestly, you're seeing the results from the movies nowadays. They're not supporting movies like they used to. They're supporting streaming services and a lot of the series that come out. I think Jack Ryan is one of the best series out there, and I love it. And it had only 6 episodes this last season, but we watched it twice, and it was still good. And I could go back and watch season 1 or season 2. That's what's going to happen here. So I know all these Hollywood types are trying to set in panic with the public.
Jack Ryan's great. Jack Ryan's a fantastic show.
Is it? I haven't seen that one.
It's great.
Oh, it is. All 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Palms or 4? 3 seasons.
Actually, no, 4.
All fantastic.
I forget it's on the 4th. It's excellent.
Yeah, I've been meaning to see it. I just haven't yet. I'm going back to watch. I just finally finished Better Call Saul. Which one? Sweet Tooth?
Oh. Yeah, Sweet Tooth is good. The second season, I think, is better than the first, actually.
Really? I haven't seen the second yet.
Yeah, I watched part of the first season of Sweet Tooth. It's pretty good. I didn't watch any of the second season yet, though.
No, that's good. I highly recommend Sweet Tooth to you guys. Secret Invasion, I'm on. I haven't seen all of it yet. I'm on episode 4 or so. It's talk about a slow burn. It's a slow burn. Secret Invasion is hoping it builds up, but it's it's anything with Samuel Jackson I'll watch for the most part. So I mean, if anything, if you're a Samuel Jackson fan.
I've enjoyed Secret Invasion. It's not your typical over-the-top action every other moment. It has a nice mix of action storyline. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson's always good. I hadn't seen the newest episode that come out this week, but if you're a Marvel fan and followed the Marvel movies, understand who the Skrulls are, it's good. It's a good movie. But if you're not familiar with Marvel, you're kind of new to the characters. Yeah, I can see it being a little bit boring for you, but I enjoy it. I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm hoping it will stay good and keep on adding action as it goes along.
Is there something coming out that's exciting you guys? Is there anything that's either TV show, movie, the new Walking Dead series with Negan and Maggie? I mean, is there anything you guys are looking forward to?
You know what dropped last night? The new Justified. Did you guys ever watch the original Justified? It's an excellent show.
I did. I did.
Seen the new one yet?
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually had my wife tape the newest. I don't know if it's going to be like a little mini series spinoff of the series or whatever it's going to be, but the previews for it look really good. So yeah. I have it DVR'd up. It's going to be. I'll be watching it this weekend. So, and he plays such a great character in that.
Oh
so.
Well.
Oh yeah.
I did watch when it first. I didn't finish the whole show, but I did enjoy it. We just stopped watching it, and the fact that Palm said he had his wife tape the episode. Yeah, you're fucking old. Thank you for that.
No, I did. She DVR'd it. Well, it's taping for me. It's an easy.
Did she TiVo it? Did she TiVo it, Palm? Did she TiVo it?
You know, the funny thing you could say that is I do have a TiVo.
Of course you do. Why am I not
for network TV? Because I have a satellite going to the TV for I can see network stations and I can TiVo those networks, mainly for football season. But you know,
if I'm kind of looking forward to. Too bad Dell's not here, but I'm looking forward to, as Dell would say, Ahsoka. I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. Only because I do like Rosario Dawson. She is a cool character. So far, I think they've been the Star Wars part of Disney Plus have been really good. I really enjoyed Andor. I enjoyed Obi-Wan. I enjoyed The Last Mandalorian. I enjoyed it all. Boba Fett's still out there. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to Ahsoka, and it sounds, and I did actually read that Disney is going to start slowing down on the Star Wars TV show. They're starting to pull the reins back on those things. Yeah, is it oversaturation? Is that what we're thinking?
Honestly, it's just bad writing in a lot of instances, in my opinion. I love the Obi-Wan series. That was great. But you get Darth Vader, right? And it's been so long since we've seen Darth Vader. So maybe that's why nostalgia.
You know, I think the Star Wars stuff has been outstanding. Of course, my only complaint is Boba Fett was a little cheesy, I guess. Everybody was a little bit disappointed with it. But for the most part, all the Star Wars stuff coming out is pretty good. Now, on the Marvel side, like Greg said, the quality isn't there. The writing isn't there at all times. Occasionally, you'll have something that is a little bit better than the average. And I'm hoping the Daredevil series that's going to be coming out will bring back a lot of good writing, bring back the fan base, bring back some excitement. But right now, I mean, Secret Invasion is okay. It's good. It's entertaining. But it's not like, wow, every week. It's not like Mandalorian every week. Everybody's clamoring to see and talk about the new Mandalorian episode. Marvel isn't producing that right now. And eventually, I'm hoping they will.
But sorry,
are you talking about the Daredevil Reborn that they push back?
Let's be honest. Other than Mando, Star Wars isn't doing that with their series either. They've put out how many new series, and no one's talking about every episode. I mean, there was the one episode of Boba Fett where they were talking about how it looked like the Power Rangers showed up because they were all in different colored boats. That was the thing talking about, not the show being great. Mando, the only one where you're hearing about it nonstop. And from the Marvel shows, I mean, I guess you really haven't heard that since Loki.
Yeah.
That's coming out soon, right?
Like I said, the Obi-Wan had a lot of buzz there.
Yeah, with Darth Vader. Yep, I agree. I liked Obi-Wan. I'm very, as you guys know, I'm very easy satisfied on certain stuff. It doesn't take that much doesn't take much to entertain me. But I will say that I do, and I am enjoying The Witcher. That's still pretty good. Witcher is pretty much still the badass show on Netflix. So if you guys haven't seen Witcher yet, feast your eyes, because it's the last time you can see Henry Cavill playing the guy. So who knows what the hell's going to happen there. Yeah, it is too bad, because to me he is the Witcher. He's got that down packed, and now we might be getting the Liam Hemsworth. I don't know how that's going to work out. Honestly, what the fuck has that guy done? Right.
Don't put a gun to my head. I would be dead.
The Hunger Games?
No.
I think he was in
The Hunger Games? He was in Hunger Games? I didn't even know he was in Hunger Games.
He was in all 3 Hunger Games. He started in the first one.
Those aren't bad movies. I kind of enjoyed them.
Oh, all 4. There's 4.
I don't mind. Speaking of, they're making that other one, right? It's coming out. The prelude to all the prequel to all the Hunger Games. There we go, right? With the Dinklage is in it and all that stuff. So, Silver Surfer and Galactus, yeah, there's been talk, right, that they're going to be doing a holiday special presentation of Silver Surfer or Ghost Rider. I'm kind of hoping that it is Ghost Rider, because I do like that character. Well, these comments are coming in quick here. They just need to fast forward to The Witcher 3 with Old Man Geralt to cast an older actor. So, I found out that apparently the prices for Comic-Con San Diego is this weekend. And the prices they're pretty outrageous. And from what I understand, someone was asking $600 for a day pass for Friday night. And I was talking to the guys before we went live, and I thought to myself, so let's just say you spend a couple $100 to get in. Now you're into even though they probably have the air conditioner going, it's still sweaty as shit. It's still pretty hot, because you have God knows how many people in the aisles. I was in DenverCon, and that was packed, and this is just Fan Expo, so I can imagine San Diego times 20. So you spend a couple $100, and if you're out of town, you're flying in. So there's that. You have the fly in and the fly out. Then you have the hotel reservations, unless you got lucky enough to bunk up with a bunch of 30 nerds at a Airbnb, or you have an uncle who lives there. Then you're talking about the food, the nightlife, the drinks, and we know drinks are not cheap. And if we go to the bar, forget about it. You're meeting all your friends. You're going to be out. And that's not including the money you're going to be spending at the con, which we know sometimes they're not exactly the best deals. And if you want remarks, if you want autographs, I was saying that Jim Lee was at Fan Expo. He was charging $60 an autograph, $500 for remark. And I think that's from here up, remark. If you want a full body, it's even more. But like Greg said, well, he could demand that, and people will pay.
That's about what Neil was charging at the end there. I had a remark done by Neil a few months before he passed, and I think it was like $600.
Oof.
Torso up.
I'm sorry, how much? 500?
600.
600. Well, I'll say it again. Yeah, there you go, Billy. Nerds are cool now, and it's not cheap lifestyle anymore. The days of making fun of nerds are over, my friends, because those guys have more money now than your average Joe. Because if you can drop $600 to $800 on someone drawing on a comic book, you've either spent all your time, all your money for mowing lawns, saving up for that remark from Jim Lee. But Marvel's not even a panel there. Marvel's not even showing up to SDCC. and
It doesn't
it's
matter.
still
Doesn't
it doesn't
matter.
matter. It's still it's a spectacle. People go for the cosplay. People obviously go get the remarks and their signatures and all the actors and actresses that go and you could do all that stuff. It is turned slowly, as I keep hearing, it's no longer about comics anymore. It's all about the actors and TV shows and movies and all that stuff. And the comic portion of it is very small.
Yeah, it's about the panels.
Do you guys agree in here or what?
I got to interject for 1 second.
about the
First of all,
panels.
Nicholas, you're a nerd. So there you go. Now you've been called a nerd. Sorry, Nicholas said he'd never been called a nerd, and I had to hook him up.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely a nerd.
I am the outlier
he's a
here.
fucking nerd.
You took it another level. You're a fucking nerd, which is better than the nerds used to be because they never could get laid before. But anyhow, I'm that outlier here. You were talking about the cost of these remarks and everything. I still think remarks are awful. I don't understand why you're putting art on top of the comic book art, which is what I love in the first place and why I got into it. It doesn't make sense to me. I know people are nuts about it. For me, if I really want a SIG, I'll get a SIG, but then that's it, because then I can still see what I fell in love with in the first place. I mean, my t-shirts are comic book art. This is what I love. I don't want to see this covered with other drawings. So I don't get that thing anyway, and spending that kind of money on that anyhow. But what scares me about what you're talking about is I've always wanted to go to San Diego. I go to NYCC because I live here, and I just, I take a ferry and whatever. I go for 1 day. I buy one single day ticket, and I enjoy it. It's sweaty. It's horrible. It's expensive. I don't buy a whole lot when I'm there. It's more for the experience of being there and seeing my other friends in the community. But if I ever did have the means to go to San Diego, I would have to do the full day because I'd be coming from out of town. The full day, I'd have to be getting a hotel. And I don't see how my wife would ever allow me to do something like that at the prices you're talking. Like, it's insane.
And that's just for one night. So you can imagine a 3-weekend pass.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con is still, in my eyes, the gold standard. It's the biggest one. It's the one everybody always talks about. But you're talking about people coming from out of town. If you can drive there, get a hotel, it's still going to be expensive. You have to fly there and get a hotel and pay for a day or so. That gets really expensive. Then you're talking about walking in and buying stuff. So what are you talking about? A low level, I'm going to actually enjoy this con. $4,000, $5,000 if you're into comic books and want to walk away with a good rail. It's not going to be cheap. And it's going to put you out for a while unless you make buku bucks or you've been saving for literally a whole year to even go. But that's a lot of money to drop for one con.
So let me ask you guys, because I wasn't looking for books when I was in Denver. Do dealers, because it is a big con like San Diego, do they hike up those big books a lot? Have you guys, do you see that? I don't know.
I've never been to San Diego, so I can't.
I'd say it depends on the deal.
No, but I'm talking about like any big con. The Florida. Greg, you went to Florida. I mean, wasn't that a big one?
Yeah, so it really depends on the dealer. Some dealers do mark their prices way up. Some bring them way down because they know they're not taking those eBay fees and those whatnot fees or whatever it may be, or taking the risk of mailing a book. I mean, there's risk involved in that too, right? That can get lost. So a lot of the time they do take a good amount off the prices that they have on the walls. If you ask, I mean, a lot of time you do have to ask, but usually willing to will and deal. So I'd say most of the bigger books that I buy at this point are at shows in person from dealers that I've worked with in the past. Mm-hmm. But typically I have like that network of dealers that I go to for everything because I know their prices are going to be fair and
right.
So I'm not in Greg's sphere. I don't deal in the kinds of books that Greg does. One day, hopefully. But I mean, at NYCC, I walked over and I looked at a Captain America 100 that was raw, and I was intrigued to see what the price was. And I turned it over, and because there was a sticker on the back, and I said, he had 2 copies. And there were 2 raw copies, and I looked at him and was like, so how much are these? Because these aren't the right prices. He goes, Yeah, they are. This
Mm.
this over here is more than my 8.5 that I have at home is worth. And this is raw. And he's like, yeah, that's higher than an 8.5. This book, it was insane. So depending on the person you're going to, and MegaCon was the same. I went to MegaCon back in the day. It's not just the big books that they mark up crazy, because there's a lot of stupid people who don't know comics that go to these things because they want to be there. And yes, Captain America 100 is a key issue, and people want it, and it's an iconic cover. So someone who doesn't know comics sees that thing there, and it's on the wall, it's whatever. They don't know better to say, oh, this is a good price, this isn't a good price, or this is higher than an 8.5, or it's not. And they end up forking over more money than they should. And it's people like us that are trying to get deals, and that if we know someone, we might be able to. But otherwise, they're going to hold out for the sucker until maybe the end of the con. And they say, okay, now I want to just pack up stuff. I'll give it away for what it's actually worth.
That's the fear. I think sometimes that we have so many people that are new into this community that don't know much, and they figure that whatever the price they're asking, that must be what the price is, what the book is worth. So I'm going to pay it. Then they go and they get more into the community, and they meet somebody. Oh, so how much did you pay for that House of Secrets? They're like, dude, I got a deal. I paid $1,500, and you're like, it's graded? No, raw, because he said I was getting a deal. And he says this is 8.5, and you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, you got so ripped off, right? And they're like, what? I didn't know that. I didn't. And it sucks because the very dishonest people that can smell a new person coming a mile away the way a shark smells blood. And it kind of, it sucks, but it's a live and learn. It's the whole, I pay with friends and family on PayPal, not goods and services, and I never met this guy before, and he ghosted me, and now I'm out. Well, he taught you a lesson, right? Don't pay friends and family if it's someone you don't know. That's just
honestly, don't even pay friends and family for people you do know, because if something goes wrong in transit, especially when you're buying something big, there's no coverage. It's just not worth it unless you're able to meet them in person. I don't like doing friends and family at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm a little partial on that. I always do it to my close friends, but I get that because there's that always possibility of, Dorf sending me a book and we're completely cool, and it's like, dude, the book's gone. It just disappeared, and we're like,
it's happened to me. Right? It's happened to me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Friends of ours in this community, JC and Chelsea, I sent them 3 books to the address that I had from them, and they had moved, and they went to the old place, and that package wasn't there. We instantly made it right with each other because that's the way that it works. I mean, we're not. Look, I'm not telling you, Greg. Again, you deal in really big stuff that I'm not there yet, and if I was in that area, you kind of have to, because making it right when it's a 5-digit valued item, yeah, there's nothing I can do to make it right if I didn't do it right in the first place. But with a $300 book or this or that, I'm not going to leave anyone screwed. I've had slabs break in transit and whatever. I've paid everything that needed to be for reslab, even if I did goods and services, even if someone won it in a game for $5, because that's how much they ended up getting it for. I took care of it because that's how you do it. I mean, there's crap people. I wouldn't do that for everyone. I mean, I wouldn't give friends and family for everybody, but if I know the person, Palms won a book from me, even though he says he doesn't know who I am. You won a book from me. It was friends and family. His book arrived safe and sound. He was a happy man. Like that's the way it should be. But God forbid there was an issue there, I would have taken care of him.
I can see though what Greg is saying, especially if you've been burned or you were caught in that net, and Greg's like, that's it. I got fucked and never gonna touch that again. It's like when we're younger, I will never drink peppermint schnapps ever again because I got so nasty off it. I will never touch it. And even though it's just, it's just the thing.
But another thing to keep in mind too is PayPal does monitor friends and family payments. Can you hear me okay? Again, okay.
Yep.
PayPal does monitor friends and family payments, and they do have the right to ban your account at any time. If they do, I'm sure this happened to some of your listeners. If they do ban your account, they're not lifting it. There's nothing you can do. And if it's a major part of your business, for me, it's just not worth risking. For me, PayPal is a huge factor in my business.
So let me just, to that end, because I'm totally with you there, and I do the vast majority of my stuff friends and family, but I have a PayPal credit card, and I do make purchases consistently through PayPal for goods and services. So that does balance me out. Now, my goods and services don't nearly equal the amount of friends and family transactions I do, but I haven't been flagged for years because I am doing those goods and services transactions also. As long as they're getting their piece, they leave you alone.
But now
the best thing to do on that is to definitely mix it up. And another thing that I add to PayPal too is sometimes I'll do transfers to my bank where they're taking their little piece. Like if I want to send $50 to my bank account, they can have their little piece because they're getting a little transaction and getting a little fee on top of me mixing up the goods and services, on top of me getting the friends and family. On top of that, just doing consistent oddball business that doesn't see, you're not doing one thing all the time, like Dorf was saying. Well, if you're doing one thing all the time, no matter what it is, they're probably going to flag it.
So that was going to be my next question, and especially to you, Greg, is are you saying that if I had a business of strictly comic book selling and all that stuff, are you saying that if I was doing all my purchases online or all my transactions strictly friends and family, and it's strict and it's obvious it's a business, you're saying they're going to go, hey,
they would certainly ban your account, and if you tried to email them asking why, they wouldn't even respond to you. Their customer service for this has been terrible, and I'm sure there's got to be somebody in here with all your listeners and watchers that this happened to, because it happens to a lot of people. You see it all the time in the Facebook groups where somebody posts, "I just got banned from PayPal and they won't respond to me." Well, that's about as far as you're going to get with them because they won't respond to you. So it's unfortunate, but that's for me, it's just not worth the risk.
So a balance is a good thing. Just do some friends and family, do some goods and services. Don't make it so obvious.
Yep.
Use Venmo.
Yeah, but is it? But PayPal and Venmo are the same, right? Didn't the PayPal buy out Venmo?
PayPal owns Venmo, but I only use Venmo regular. I don't ever send Venmo goods and services, and I've never had an issue with Venmo. Yeah. It's owned by PayPal, but it's the same thing. And I will occasionally, like Greg said, do an instant transfer so they get their little piece.
Right.
Sorry, as Palm said, like I'll do that, but for the most part, when it comes to Venmo, I'm just whatever. Here's my little coffee emoji or pizza emoji. Let's keep moving.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, with Venmo, that's how it was set up. Venmo is supposed to be like that. So I use Venmo that way too.
Yeah.
Billy,
slow down. So here's a question. So here's a question for all of us. And this actually has come up a lot. So the question for the panel, as a buyer, do you feel you have the responsibility to educate a seller or they don't know if they don't know what they have, or is it their responsibility to do their own homework? If you found an AF-15 at a yard sale for $50, are you buying or are you educating? This comes up a lot.
So go ahead. I'm going to be the minority. I know this 100%, and people aren't going to believe me. I will always educate. I will still try to make a deal and say, hey, this is what it's worth and whatever. But if you still are trying to get rid of it now and whatever, like, I will do that. Now I can actually talk about this deal exactly because it doesn't sound as great as it did when I got it, although I'm still very happy with it. Giant Size X-Men was one of my top 3 all-time Grail books, and a guy who I know ended up getting stuff out of a storage locker. He spent, I think, $1,500 on the entire lot of comics because the other guy wanted the tools. And In there was a Raw Giant Size X-Men, a Savage She-Hulk #1 9.8, Spider-Woman #1 9.8, and I wanted those books. I told him those are great books. Those are books that I wanted. But I literally went through every single book that he got, pricing them all for him, helping him, whatever. And when it came to GSX, he offered it to me with the other 2 books. And I said, I couldn't even possibly. And he was like, for $3,000, I was like, don't sell me that book. Don't sell me that book. You need to get that book pressed and graded. And I hooked him up with Avery Pressing. And I was like, this is what you want to do. And you want to send it there. And he said, look, I really appreciate that, but this is something you really want. And I was like, you are making the wrong move. At the time that I got that book back, which came back as a 9.0 GSX1, which is in my collection, it was $9,500 was what it was worth at that time. But I tried to tell him repeatedly, and he still said, you spent all of this time helping me with all of this. I don't care. I paid $3,000 for those 3 books, which was a stupidly amazing deal for me.
Yeah.
But I told him 100%. And I said, look, I'm not taking advantage of you. I want you to know I'm making a killing here by you're doing this. Not that I'm selling them. I still have all 3 in my collection, but you're making a lot less than you could. He doubled his money on just those 3 books for me. So he was happy. I was ecstatic, but I still told him the truth, and I wasn't trying to take advantage of him.
What about you, Andrew? What's your take?
I mean, it all matters where the seller's coming from. If it's some seller that's overcharging everything they're selling, obviously they know what they're doing. And I'm just going to negotiate a deal. I'm not going to help them. I'm just going to try to help myself to their books and try to get a best deal. Now, if it's the other side of the coin where they're undercharging a bunch of books, yeah, I want to at least let them know, hey, have you done your research on like eBay last sold? Because I see that you're selling a lot of books for a low price. Unless they're just wanting to make a quick buck. But in those cases, it's usually too good to be true in most cases when they're underpricing a lot. I haven't encountered it a whole lot, especially being in the Facebook community. It seems like when it's really low and in the marketplace, it's a scam. I just personally haven't stumbled on it. But if I did, and if it was in a garage sale kind of setting, and I saw, if I did say Amazing Fantasy 15, and it looked like it was a 2.5 or 3.5, yeah, I'd probably go, hey, man, check out eBay last sold. This is probably a valuable book. And if he wanted to know right there and then, I could probably just pull up my phone, show him, and go, hey, man, if you're just looking to sell it, what are you thinking about selling it for? How much money you have into it? I might be a buyer, but if you want to do your own thing and try to get it graded or try to sell it outright for what it's worth, that's cool too.
Greg?
First off, I've never seen an Amazing Fantasy 15 for $50. So I don't want to get that. But what I would do in that situation is I'd offer to consign it for them. I'm not gonna take the book for $50. I feel bad the rest of my life, so I'm not doing that. But I'd offer to consign it for them. That way, I can still get a percentage of it, get a nice chunk of money, and then give the owner the rest. I think that would be a fair way to do it.
With a book like that, again, none of us are running into an AF-15 sitting anywhere, let alone just there for $50. But offer him, look, I know how to deal with this and how to get it done for you. Here's my information. Here's everything you need to know for me. Here, let me help you get this done. Give him my cell phone number. I'll give him my address. I don't possibly get for it, so you're not whatever. I mean, you're probably selling this stuff because you need some cash. Don't lose out on God knows how much.
Yeah.
It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. We've seen many Facebook posts where someone will say, I got this whatever at a garage sale for this amount of deal. And then people are like, hey, fantastic. Good for you. Congratulations. You scored. Then you have the ones that'll say, that's kind of fucked up of you. Did you not tell them that book is worth a lot more? They're like, well, screw them. If that's what they want to sell it for, that's what they're going to sell it for. And I think,
neither are wrong. 100% are wrong. Again, the deal that I got on those books was ridiculous. And anyone who said, if you got a killer deal on that, they're not wrong. I personally felt for me, you tell them and you go from there. It worked out for me in the end. I prefer that I was honest about it, and I have no regrets because I was open with it. But if you offer someone what they're asking for, this is their asking price, and you give it to them, you're not a bad person. You don't necessarily have the same values that I do. I don't think you're wrong for offering them what they offered it to you for. I hate when someone goes to a yard sale and someone's selling something for $2 and they say, I'll give you $1.50. Like, if you want the thing, it's $2.
Yeah.
Buy the damn thing for $2. If the thing's worth $10, great. Like, why negotiate those kinds of things? So you give someone what they're asking price. You're not a bad person. If you know better and you have the values like I do, and this group seems to, you share. But if you're not wrong for not. I mean, if it's something they could retire on and live off of forever, like an AF-15, all right, fine. But there you're a dick. But I mean, if it's a ASM-29 that ends up being like a 1.5, whatever. It's not. I mean, it's a good book to have, and I don't care whatever the grade, but it's not going to make or break this guy's future. Yeah. So, who cares if you spend $15 at a garage sale for it?
But it's like that story of that dear old lady who shows up to the at your local LCS with a box of priceless comic books, and the comic book owner goes, "Yeah, I'll give you $300 for the whole box," and she's like, "Great." And it's like GSX-1. There's a House of Secrets 92, and there's all that stuff. That to me is slimy.
The owner of the comic book store does that is the one who says, hold on a second, let me check eBay sales and not go with what I have on this thing already. Right. That's and that comic book owner. Yeah, so he's a sleazebag by all accounts. Because I know plenty of comic book dealers who have stores that would 100% tell them, look, this is what you've got. And again, like Greg said, offer consignment or offer this and offer ways to still make their cut from helping them out, not taking advantage of this poor old lady.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So Dell asked about this whole eBay Live. Is still in beta. Hasn't been public yet. What are you guys' thoughts? Is this going to be? I think the thought process for me is that once it goes live, you're going to start seeing a lot of that whatnot shift over to the eBay side, the eBay Live, and then you're going to have the diehard whatnotters stay in that platform and F eBay, and there's going to be that sort of rivalry. But what are we thinking? Is it going to take off? Is it going to be good? What are your thoughts?
I'm sorry. Are there still diehard whatnotters?
There's still diehard whatnotters. Yeah. Yeah.
So they need some help. That's where we start. Look, I liked the idea of whatnot at the beginning. At first, I was considering using the platform. Strongly considering it first for a while, but there were a lot of things that rubbed me the wrong way about the platform, both as a buyer and as a potential seller. And as time went on, it became really clear that there's no real regulatory body to make sure things are being done properly and by people who could really be trusted and whatever. I have no idea how eBay is going to manage all of that. So even if, I think eBay will wipe the floor with whatnot the moment that it really comes out of beta, but I don't know that it'll last there either. I think once eBay crushes whatnot, eBay might end up just saying, yeah, this was fun while it lasted, but then go right back to just being eBay because they don't have the competition. But I don't see how eBay is going to regulate this the right way. I mean, by that point, you're needing sellers with the Better Business Bureau certification. Like, that's what you need to happen to really know that those lives are going to matter.
Greg, you're the person I was kind of really wanted to hear your opinion on this because I know you're an eBay, you have an eBay store and all that. And so what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, with I think with their customer base, eBay, anything they do like that is obviously going to have quite a few buyers right off the jump, and there's tons of sellers. I'm one of the sellers that are in line for it, waiting for it, because I would like to try it out. I still have I wouldn't say a weekly Whatnot show, but I still try to do a show like 3 times a month on Whatnot. And is it going to stop? Is it going to kill Whatnot? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's going to be one of those things that I think time will tell, but it's going to take a chunk from it for sure. It's just one of those things. It's hard to tell. I mean, I thought that Blockbuster was going to stomp Netflix out, and here we are. So who knows? I'm excited to see what happens, though. I mean, when you have 2 platforms like that going head to head, and Whatnot has become a pretty big platform from what it was in its early days. I mean, it's grown quite a bit. So it's gonna be interesting. I think it'll be good for both platforms to evolve a little bit. I think it's going to be a good thing, believe it or not.
Andrew, go ahead. What are your thoughts before I?
Well, I have a feeling that once eBay goes live, there'll be a lot of excitement. I think anybody that has any loyalties with Whatnot, who claims they're, ride and die with Whatnot, will jump ship as soon as they realize there's a 4 times the amount of viewers during a show, and the money is just flowing in for these live shows at eBay. They'll leave Whatnot in the dust like a Roadrunner cartoon. They'll just jump ship and go to where the money can be made. It's as simple as that. Now, how long the novelty will last at eBay, I don't know. I just know that they have a pretty big base of customers and viewers, and it will be, I would say, out of the gates pretty successful. And what I'm impressed by the most is, don't think that eBay isn't keeping an eye on these platforms like Whatnot right now and trying to learn everything that they can and trying to work out all the bugs they can right now too. They're playing it slow and they're playing it smart. And I think when they do come out, I'm hoping they have a lot of those bugs worked out, because I think they're looking at a lot of the things that are going on Whatnot right now, or going on, that people are getting turned off by. And if I think they're doing what they're really doing, it's going to be a good thing for them. And like I said, I don't know how it's going to be long term, but I think out of the gates, it'll be pretty big and pretty successful.
So we're thinking we're thinking that eBay is going, let's just have Whatnot be the guinea pig, and we're going to learn what not to do. Right. And where, and all the talks and all the forums, and you have those people in there from eBay going and hear all the complaints about Whatnot and everything else. They're going, okay, boss, this is what we're not going to do. All right.
So here's the 2 business models you can go with. You can go with the way that DC did when the MCU started and became effective. Look, Iron Man really worked. Hey, Incredible Hulk was good. Hey, Captain America was good. Look, now they've got this whole thing. We've got a 10-year DC universe plan. Boom, it's happening. Let's make all these at once, and it'll be great. And they had no information. They had no research. They had no formal plan, and it was a shit show. Or you could do what eBay did. The moment Whatnot really hit the ground, it was like boom, 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 and growing. And eBay absolutely knew and said, hey, we could go live. Let's look into that. And now it's a year, 2 years down the road, and they're still working on it. They only started the beta, 4 months ago? 3 months ago? Like, they took their sweet time to make sure. And Whatnot's had fuck up after fuck up to get through. And some things they've made better. Some things they still suck at. Like, all of these screw-ups, you've got eBay over there sitting and saying, okay, we're watching this, we know, and now let's avoid that one. Let's not fall in this pitfall. Ooh, this fix that they made was a good one. Let's make sure we're doing that. And they're going to come out with a far superior product when it happens. Again, for me, the part that concerns me is the regulating of sellers and people selling legitimate stuff. They have the right to sell, shows being appropriate and what's being on the screen. All of these things that Whatnot has constantly had issues with these sellers, and there's no one regulating and making sure. Like, if eBay has someone on there, a group of people watching these shows as they're on, and if someone does something that's not okay, they're shut down in that instant, live. Like, the show gets cut off. Then you've got something that can possibly stand the test. It can stand. Like, that's what worries me, is when they're doing this on the spot. This isn't a legitimate thing. You don't have the rights to sell this, but you're selling it. If it's not handled right then and there,
right,
it's going to continue to be an issue.
Right. I feel you. That would be a really tough thing to do. You would have to hire people, right, that just sit there and moderate and go to show after show after show after show, stick around for a few minutes to see if that person is on the up and up. If not, you cut them off, they lose the screen, and then you deal with whoever bought whatever this and that during that time later, or whatever it is. But you take them off, right? And they're like, hey, I lost my stream. Yeah, because you showed stuff you shouldn't be showing, or you're selling AI art as original art, whatever it is. It's going to be interesting. I think everyone's really on pins and needles to find out. Greg, when is it? Do you know when it's going live, or do you have any idea?
I don't. But what I was going to add is to police that would be next to impossible. You know what I mean? To have someone in every single stream, just the manpower and then the money involved. It's not going to be profitable for them.
For sure.
But I will say, I was in. My buddy Darren runs Unknown Comics, and I was in his sale. He's on eBay, and I did one of his sales. He had 6,000 people in there. 6,000 people, that's just amazing. You're lucky to have 60 people in a Whatnot stream on eBay.
He had 6,000 on eBay.
6,000 people were watching his live stream. Unknown Comics.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you get 15 people watching something, and I'm happy.
Right?
15 people, and 4 of them might bid. Yes, that's what I need. 4 of those 15 people to be so interested. So 6,000. That's great, and I agree with you that it would be impossible to police it the way that I'm talking about. But without some kind of structure where you really have things being handled properly, both for the sellers and for the buyers, that's my concern, and why I don't see how it can. There is a reason the Better Business Bureau exists. That is literally to say these people are legitimate and you can purchase from them. Anytime I get pop-ups on my Facebook feed all the time, they know I'm a nerd. They throw these things on there like, oh, that looks cool. Let me see it. And then I have to Google and see, is this a legitimate website? And half the time, they're not. Like, those things exist for a reason. What's going to be that for eBay Live? Because right now, Whatnot doesn't have that. Whatnot supposedly has that, but we all know from what we've seen over the past year that they certainly don't.
I'm curious to see how the beta is going.
The beta seems to be going pretty well. I joined one earlier today. There was actually one about Funko Pops, and I'm not too interested in Funkos, but I'm interested in seeing how the betas are going, and it seemed pretty seamless. But I think that really it starts with when they sign these new sellers up. Just they need to be extremely selective of who they're allowing to be on the eBay Live platform. They need to be maybe eBay users that have been around for 15 plus years and have over 10,000 feedback at first. And I think that's probably what they're doing. That would make sense, right? Because you know that these people it's not just some new guy that signed up 2 weeks ago and wants to sell live on your platform, because that's bad business for eBay. That's bad business for the buyers, and for other sellers for that matter. So it would make sense just to use tenured eBay accounts.
Yeah, on top of that too, I like that point, Greg. And the other thing that Whatnot didn't do is they didn't cap the amount of sellers. They just let everybody. They opened the floodgates and let anybody in, which invited a lot of shady sellers, a lot of scamming sellers, you had good sellers coming in too. You had excellent sellers. You had big business sellers that a lot of these guys that do business behind the scenes aren't as reputable, but they had to follow the Whatnot guidelines. And then they carry over deals that go off of Whatnot. And I don't know how many times I've talked to friends where, hey, this guy on Whatnot is a reputable seller. Didn't have any issues with him. I did a deal with him off of Whatnot where I was texting him back and forth, and he ripped me off. I'm like, dude, you need to report that to Whatnot to let them know what kind of sellers on their platform, number one. And number two, hopefully file with PayPal, get your money back, and never do business with them again. I'm hoping that eBay has enough sense to, like you said, vet out these sellers they're putting on, but cap the amount of sellers and put the right rules up front in place that aren't going to screw the potential buyers out there that are going to jump on and hopefully make it a successful thing for them ultimately. So, but we'll see how it goes.
I think your idea of capping the sellers is an issue just based on what eBay is. Because on eBay, it is a marketplace for everyone. But I hope one day, I hope eBay Live is very successful, and maybe I can do that like I was originally thinking about with Whatnot. But I've been a seller for a long time. My profile stars, no negative. Great. I hope that it would take me months to get vetted and approved as a seller, because it doesn't matter. I mean, sure, the comic book community here knows me and they can verify me as a seller, but I want the governing body to do the work and make sure that I'm okay. And that's the thing with Whatnot. I can't tell you how many different people I knew from the comic community, from the cards community, from this, who kept saying to me, hey, I have an in. If you want to become a seller, I can help you get approved really quickly. I'm like, that's great. However, how many people know people who are doing that thing? Like that's part of why Whatnot was such a shit show, or is such a shit show, because so many people had those connections. And now some of those people are great people, and I knew were asking me because they knew I was good. But again, some of those people just know me through other people and were like, hey, I've got these connections.
It's right, Greg. You're saying too is that, put people on who've had already success on eBay, and don't bring someone on who just started an account last week, right? Who has 100,000 books to sell.
Yeah.
But they just created an account last month, and sure, hey, why not? You got a bunch of books to sell, why not? Instead of those, like Dorf said, someone who's been vetted, who has great scores, has been doing and selling comic books for the past 10 years, and they apply, yes, they should be ahead of the line compared to somebody else who just opened an account last week. And not that person who just opened that account is bad or is scammy, but there's almost a little bit of that seniority thing that kind of go, well, this guy's been around since its infancy, so we kind of give them a shot over you. So it should be very interesting. Kate says I buy a lot of comics on Instagram and really only buy from people that are connected to the others that I trust, since it's got no oversight, but I expected way more from the Whatnot and eBay. So yes, I know Kate. Actually sold to Kate many times. She's one of those people that will constantly buy from the same people on Instagram, because she knows the people. She knows she's going to get her book. She knows it's going to get there on time, and it's a safe bet.
Absolutely.
It's very hard for new buyers to get into buying comic books and go, where do I buy? Who do I trust? Who do I not trust? Boy, I wish there was a network of people that I could ask who would tell me it's okay to buy from these people.
Yes. Ask for references.
Ask for references. Ask now on the Facebook side, we see it all the time. Everybody, I'm doing a sale trade with Dorf. Who can vouch for Dorf? And if you get crickets, it doesn't sound good, especially in a big community like Facebook. If you get like, oh, he's a dude, he's great, he's fantastic, he ships great, and those are people that I know, then most likely they're not going to vouch for a bag. So like that's the way it goes. So the vouchers on Facebook do work well. Now it's different for Instagram. It doesn't. I've never seen that. I've never seen someone post on Instagram, "Hey, uh, the real Dracula's Wolf. I'm buying from Palm's Funny Books. Can anyone vouch for Palm's Funny Books?" And people are like, "I don't know what the fuck that is." No, but you ask that in Facebook, yeah, of course, of course. So Palms all day. So it's a different dichotomy between those two different platforms.
I've done those vouch posts, of course. I'm not nuts about the public vouch posts, but the first trade I ever made on Facebook was with Jonathan Bice. I don't know if you guys know him.
Mhm.
I didn't know him at the time. And I touched base with him. I was looking for Black Panther #2 and a 9.8, first appearance of Shuri. And I had a 9.6 ASM 316. And at that time, the value was virtually the same. So I was looking to do a trade. And he said he had it. So I looked at his friends list. I saw Brian Asher on there. And Brian and I knew each other. And I said, okay, let me reach out to Brian. Brian, is he good? Yeah. John said, who do I know? I said, Brian says I'm good. Brian says you're good. If that's good for you, that's good for me. And we, without ever knowing each other, we sent each other books. They both arrived safely. And I know I can always do a deal for Jonathan Bice. I've hosted books for him now. But that's how that connection was made. I had someone who I trusted who verified that he trusted that person. And that was it. And there's never been a question since. And that's how it is with all of these people. If JC or Chelsea tells me, yeah, this person's got this for a deal and whatever. Actually, JC did mention me someone, and I bought a book from him, raw, and I got it graded. It came back the 9.8. I was happy as a pig in shit. But it was only because JC said it, and I did goods, and I have friends and family because of who it came from. Like, that's how it works. But 4 years ago, I didn't know any of you people. And I wouldn't have taken JC's word from a hole in the ground. Palm still doesn't know who I am.
One day I might.
It's true. One day I got hit up twice in one night, almost back to back, from people going, "Hey, do you know so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's a good dude, man." I always thought, great. And that's like you said, Dorf. That's all they needed. And that's why I kind of play around on Facebook when I say Caesar approved. Because it's like, well, he's a good guy, and if he approves it, then he's not going to bullshit anybody. So I've even had people, when someone says blah, and I put in, this guy's legit, we see it all the time, buy from Dorf, buy from Greg, buy from Andrew, he's legit, he's 100%. All they do sometimes just read that, they're like, that's all he says, that's good enough for me. I trust that guy. So this community has a lot of trust in people. And that's something that should not be broken, because once that trusted person F's you over, you're done. And it takes a lot for you to rise out of those ashes. We know certain people in this community who we were good with, and something just happened. And like that, gone. Ghost, bad. What happened? He kept my money. He didn't ship my books. And we're like, really? Joe Blow did? Really? That guy? We've known him for years. And
Caesar, I'm just saying, you can say some names. We don't need to sugarcoat this.
No. It's just it has happened, and it's mind blowing. So it's like, if any of us, if Greg all of a sudden went fucking AWOL, and we're like, really? That guy? You kind of have that. You kind of, knock on wood, you kind of have that like reaction, and your first reaction is, well, something must have happened. Right. And that's what I started hearing, all these excuses. Well, I heard he has a gambling problem. I heard he got into drugs. I heard he got bit off more than he can chew. All of a sudden I started hearing all these things that people either want to make excuses for someone, or they themselves don't want to feel duped. Like, wait a minute, I trusted this guy, and now he's running out on somebody. Now I feel betrayed, even though he didn't fuck me over. So I'm going to try to make an excuse for the guy. And that has happened.
Very much so. And some of those names are popping up in the comments right now.
Yeah, I think Dell's going down the list.
Is Dell going down the list?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Matt Dungy. Yeah, well,
I've had these conversations in chats with groups, with individuals just like this. It doesn't matter who we're talking about. I will never understand how to get to a point. For me, I started in this community online only just over 3 years ago. People didn't know me. I worked very hard for people to get to know me quickly and know that I am someone that they could trust. Not because I wanted to earn it for whatever time I could while comics were booming, but because my name matters to me. My name represents who I am. My Facebook name is Dorfberger. My real name is Jonathan Dorfberger, and my wife calls me Dorf. It's not some stupid, goofy name for Facebook to do whatever. It's who I am. It has my real job on my profile. Like, I am who I am, and my name is everything other than my family. So I can't comprehend how someone goes from being a Matt Dungy, for example, who was great in the community for the longest time, and then suddenly drops off the edge of a cliff, and God knows what excuses you want to give him. But he went from being someone that I would have vouched for on one of those posts to now being someone that I want nothing to do with. And I don't want people to think of me in the same breath of him ever. Not, hey, once he was good, like he's over there. He was wherever. He's not now.
All of us have built a name. Greg, you've built a name for yourself, not only on the Facebook and Instagram, YouTube. You have your show and the little reels that you do. All of us have built and worked hard to keep our name out of someone's mouth, right? Will Smith. It's hard for us to try to reclaim what we have built. And the trust, once you fuck someone over, for you to go, oh, no, it's over. We're good now. Don't worry about it. I'm the old Caesar again. So you can trust me. There's that thing in the back of your head going, I did trust you and you did some stupid shit. So it's that's why it's very hard whenever you see these people that had reputable names that we all trusted fall off the face of the earth. And we're like, well, so that happened. And what do they do sometimes? They come back as a different fucking name on Facebook. And that's the problem sometimes with Facebook.
Yeah.
And it just happened not too long ago. Someone's name came up and all that. And someone said, hey, did you know that new name is this old name? And everyone's like, get out of here. Really? That guy was booted out of so many groups. And now he comes as a new name. And everyone's like, oh, this guy's great. It's a fucking scam, man. So there's always going to be assholes and scammers, but I have found the vast majority of people in this hobby are really decent people, just participating in something they love. I have made more friends from buying, selling, and trading comics than from any other aspect of adult life. And it is true. If it was not for this industry, this comic, I would not have met any of you guys. Yeah. And it's funny. I met Greg because I liked some of his YouTube shows. I didn't know Greg. I reached out to Greg and say, hey, would you like to be on the show? He's like, sure. And boom, there we go. Greg's my friend and Andrew's my friend and Dorf, whatever. But the thing is that we've all talked. Sometimes we talk more to these comic book people than we do with our own real friends. I got to be honest with you. Yeah. I don't have friends here in New Mexico since I moved here. I don't. You guys have been my community. You guys have been my friends. I don't. My wife doesn't get it. She doesn't fucking get it. She's like, what's with you, these guys? I'm like, you do understand that they're like my super friends. I don't have people. This is it. So me going to Denver and meeting people that have been on the show as guests, what a cool thing. It was really cool. Like if I go to Florida, which I won't, I'm sorry, Greg, but fucking Florida is disgusting. I can't take it.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen.
Well, Caesar, you better save yourself right now.
Why is that?
There's somebody that lives close to you. Better say their name.
Well,
or names.
Chelsea
or names.
Chelsea and Casey are the only people that I know, other than her other friend who moved here from LA with us. That's it. I've been here for 2 years now. We don't. It's just the way it is. Yeah, Greg. I went to Florida once, never again. The humidity was too much. I had hair grow that I never had hair. I don't know if that was even possible from the fucking humidity. I know Dorf lived there for a while and all that.
Throw up Dell's comment. Everyone should see Dell's comment right now and drop off the last part of it. Yep. Greg, what part of Florida do you live in? I have to ask.
I'm in Tampa.
Okay.
You guys might know.
My wife went to USF.
So did I.
I grew up. So did my cousin. You probably know him. Anyhow, I grew up in Florida. It's the worst shithole on the earth. But I'm glad you're happy there, and I hope you have a very happy life until it finally sinks.
I don't know. I just couldn't do it. But would I love to be at MegaCon because I would get to meet a lot of the people that I've known in this community for 20 years? Yeah, I think it'd be a blast. I would plan it better than Denver, but I would love to do that. But
MegaCon's a fun show too.
That's what I hear.
Awesome.
That's what I hear. But there's a difference between flying 5 hours from here or whatever, how many hours compared to 52 minutes in Denver. It's two different things. Yes, Frank Castle. That was yes. Yes, Castle.
What's up, guys?
Oh, look at that. It's the ghost.
The ghost of Christmas past. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to pop in. I want to thank you all for entertaining Caesar, because without you, he wouldn't have a show. Pretty much, I gotta say the truth. If you all make it interesting, Caesar, I'm surprised his internet's working today to begin with. We had one good guest or two good guests, right? And then his internet fucks up and ruins the whole show. But somehow, some way, it's working now. But anyways, thank you very much for.
I switched my internet. Dell, I got a new provider.
Thank God.
Oh, good. They wiped your ass too? Oh, not that kind of provider. Oh, I got you. Internet provider. Honestly, I saw nothing but gray, except for Greg. Greg's really, shaved up. But everything like gray guy, hairline receding over there. I'm like, damn. It's got to be an infomercial for Depends. That's why I made that comment. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for filling in for me because, right now I'm actually barely going to the beach. I couldn't afford a hotel room at this time, but we're still closing up to the beach. We can just go right now overnight where nobody's in our way. Oh, damn, I kind of ruined the surprise for my kids.
This guy.
Damn, they didn't know. We just told them, get ready, let's go. I was waiting for the show to start first before I even took off. And they didn't even know where I was going. I got some drinks, put it in a nice chest. Now they're always good. But I'm going to let y'all go. Peace. You're having a great show. It's a fun and entertaining from this side of the end. Chelsea, fuck that guy. Don't worry about Caesar. You should have known better. Yeah. You're one of the closest friends close by. You've gone to his shop more than anybody else. So, fuck that guy. Anyway, guys, I'm out.
All right. See you, Dale. Thanks, man.